It is 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are exhausted from the day, lying in bed and aimlessly scrolling through your phone in the dark. You aren't looking for anything specific, but then the algorithm serves up a perfectly targeted ad for an item you didn't even know existed 30 seconds ago. Your credit card is already saved. You double-click the side button, a biometric scan reads your face, and the transaction is complete before your logical brain can even engage. That 15-second interaction seems harmless, but the numbers expose a massive leak. The average American loses $282 every single month, over $3,300 a year, on these engineered impulse purchases. This chart shows the historical growth of the S&P 500. Cutting impulse spending in half saves $141 a month. Over 25 years at a 10% return, that compounds into $180,000 of wealth. This systematic extraction of wealth happens by design. You are simply outmatched by a digital architecture built to bypass your logic. To stop this leak, we have to look at a concept in behavioral economics called the pain of pain. For most of history, our economy was structured around physical friction. Buying something used to require real effort. You had the physical task of driving to a store and navigating your way through crowded retail aisles just to find the item. Then you hit a second layer of friction. You were forced to stand and wait in a slow physical checkout line before a transaction could even occur. And finally, the act of handing over physical cash triggered a very specific biological reaction. It activated the insula, which is the exact same part of your brain associated with processing physical pain. That mild psychological discomfort was actually essential. It acted as a natural biological pause, forcing your logical prefrontal cortex to wake up and evaluate the cost. Compare that to today. With saved payment information and contactless digital wallets, that physical friction has been engineered down to exactly zero. Retailers understand a crucial neurological secret. The dopamine high your brain craves peaks at the exact moment you decide to click buy, not when the physical item actually arrives at your door. Because they know the high peaks at the click, they actively manufacture artificial urgency to force you into making that decision immediately. User interface engineers deploy dark patterns, first placing ticking countdown timers directly on your digital cart. The second tactic is engineered scarcity, using flashing red warning labels telling you only 2 items left, or a sale is ending. But we have to look at the logical reality here. A digital shopping cart is nothing more than code on a website. It is physically impossible for it to expire. These manipulative UI elements have a single purpose: to intentionally panic your emotional brain and ensure you complete the transaction before your logical brain has any chance to intervene. You cannot out-willpower a billion-dollar algorithm. Instead, you must act as an architect and out-engineer it. The most effective way to reclaim control is a mathematically proven, deeply unsexy system called the 72-hour firewall. The mechanics are strict. For any non-essential purchase over $50, you are required to wait exactly 3 days before hitting pay. You can put it in your cart and research it, but the transaction stops there. Telling yourself to check back on Friday, instead of giving an outright no, allows you to bypass the scarcity mindset that makes budgeting feel like a punishment. Data shows this works. When users are forced to wait 48 to 72 hours, the emotional urgency evaporates, and we see a drastic drop-off in completed checkouts. Time is your ultimate biological weapon against impulse. It starves the emotional urge, meaning the default answer becomes no, without you having to spend a single ounce of willpower. To make this framework function, you need to take 2 actionable steps today. First, immediately delete all saved credit card information from your favorite online retailers and browsers, forcing yourself to manually type out those 16 digits. By forcing yourself to stand up, open your wallet, and type out those numbers, you buy the exact 60 seconds your logical brain needs to wake up and intervene. Second, delete all dedicated shopping apps from your phone. Force yourself to use a clunkier, slower web browser to access those stores. By manually rebuilding this friction, you take the steering wheel back from extractive software and decide exactly how your money is spent. Reclaiming control over these digital hurdles turns fleeting, late-night dopamine hits into a $180,000 foundation of real, tangible options for your future.